Father was sitting under the hall lamp and reading the newspaper. He looked over the newspaper and said, "Swami, listen to this. News has been received about the bravery of a village lad who was returning home by the jungle path. While he was in the middle of the jungle, he came face to face with a tiger. The newspaper gave a detailed account of the boy's fight with the tiger. It also described how the boy flew up a tree where he stayed half a day. At last, some people came that way and killed the tiger." After reading it through, Father looked at Swami fixedly and asked, "What do you say to that?" "I think he must have been a very strong and grown-up person, not a boy at all," said Swami. "How could a boy fight a tiger?" "You think you know better than the newspaper?" Father said crossly. "A man may have the strength of an elephant and yet be a coward. Another may be a mere skeleton, but if he has real courage, he can do anything. Courage is everything. Strength and age don't matter much." "How can that be?" said Swami. "Suppose I had a lot of courage, but what could I do if a tiger attacked me?" "Can you prove you have courage?" said Father with a scowl. "Let me see if you can sleep alone tonight in my office room." Swami had always slept beside his granny in the porch. The two always had their beds side by side. Any change in this arrangement kept him trembling and awake all night. He hoped at first that Father was only joking. He tried to change the topic by saying, "Father, our captain says we shall have some elders also in our cricket club. He has asked me to tell you." "We will see about that later," Father cut in. "Hereafter you must sleep alone. From the 1st of next month, I will sleep alone," Swami said very humbly, trying to please his father. "No, you must do it right from today," Father said sternly. "Sleeping beside granny or mother like a baby is disgraceful. You are now in the 5th standard and don't like the way you are being brought up." Father lifted the newspaper to his face and started reading it again. Swami rose quietly from his place and tiptoed to his bed in porch. Granny was sitting up in her bed, and she said, "Boy, are you already feeling sleepy today? Don't you want to hear a story?" Swami made no reply. He threw himself on the bed and pulled the blanket over the face. "Don't cover your face," said Granny. "Are you really so sleepy?" Swami uncovered his face a little and whispered, "Please, please, Granny, don't talk to me. And don't let anyone disturb me even the house is on fire. I shall perhaps die if I don't sleep at once." Then turned over and curled under the blanket. He started snoring but soon found his blanket pulled away. Father was standing over him. "Get up, Swami," Father commanded. He looked like a ghost in the semi-darkness of the porch. Swami stirred and groaned, as if in sleep. "Get up, Swami," said Father second time. "Why do you disturb him?" Granny pleaded. "Get up, Swami," said Father for the third time, and Swami got up. Father rolled up his bed, took it under his arm, and said, "Come with me." Swami looked at Granny, hesitated for a moment, and then followed his father into the office room. "Let me sleep in the hall, Father," Swami pleaded. "Your office room is very dusty, and there may be scorpions behind your law book." "There are no scorpions, boy. You can sleep on the bench if you like." "Can I have a lamp burning in the room?" "No, you must learn to be brave. You must not be afraid of darkness. It is only a question of habit." "Will you at least leave the door open?" Swami said very humbly. "All right," said Father, "but promise you won't roll up your bed and go to your granny's side at night. If you do it, I'll tell your teacher and make you the laughing stock of the whole school." Swami was pained and angry. He did not like the cruelty his father was showing. He cursed the newspaper that had printed the tiger story. He wished that the tiger had not spayed the boy. The night advanced, and the silence in the house deepened. Swami's heart began to beat faster. He remembered all the stories of devils and ghosts he had heard. He was almost faint with fear. Swami hurriedly got up and spread his bed under the bench and crouched there. It seemed to be a much safer place. He shut his eyes tight and encased himself in his blanket. Unknown to himself, Swami fell asleep. In his sleep, he had a terrible dream. A tiger was chasing him. Swami tried hard to escape, but his feet could not move. He tried to open his eyes, but his eyelids would not open. He groaned in despair. At last, using utmost effort, he opened his eyes. He put his hand out to feel his granny's presence, as was his habit. But he only touched the wooden leg of the bench. At once his lonely state came back to him. He shook in fear and closed his eyes. He heard a little rustling noise in the room. "What can this be?" thought Swami, and slowly opened his eyes. Something was moving in the darkness. Swami lay gazing at it in horror. He was certain that his end had come. The devil would soon pull him out and tear him to pieces. So what is the use of waiting? Swami thought. As it came nearer, Swami crawled out from under the bench. At once he clutched its leg and dug his teeth in. There was a painful cry. "Ayyo, something had bitten me." Then there was heavy tumbling and falling amidst furniture. Everyone in the house was awakened by the loud noise. In a moment, father and a servant came running with a light. Both of them fell on a burglar who lay amidst the furniture with a bleeding knee. The next day was a day of congratulations for Swami. His classmates looked at him with respect. His teacher patted his back for his courage and bravery. The headmaster said that he was a true scout. Swami had bitten into the knee of a notorious housebreaker, and the police were grateful to him. When father returned home from the club that night, he asked, "Where is the boy?" "He's asleep." "So early?" "He didn't have a wink of sleep the whole of last night," said Swami's mother. "Where is he sleeping?" "In his usual place." "Sleeping beside his granny again?" Father exclaimed. "This is why he wanted to be asleep before I returned home. Clever boy." "Let him sleep where he likes," mother said angrily. "You need not risk his life again." "All right, pamper him and spoil him as much as you like," father mumbled as he walked away to his room. Swami was following the whole conversation from under the blanket. He felt a great relief to hear his father giving him up. R.K. Narayan. Learn how to climb trees. Many tigers roamed about in the thick forest in the Kuan and Garhwal hills till the beginning of the 20th century. Jim Corbett was brought up in this region. He loved mountains, forests, and animals. He was an excellent shooter. He killed many man-eaters and saved the lives of countless people. Kunwar Singh was the first to visit me the day I was given my first gun. I was 8 then. He came early and put the old double-barreled gun into his hands with great pride. He laid the gun aside and said to me, "You are no longer a boy, but a man, and with this good gun you can go anywhere you like in the jungles and never be afraid, provided you learn how to climb trees." I will now tell you a story to show how necessary it is for us who shoot in the jungles. to know how to climb trees. Harsing and I went to shoot one day last April. We started when the stars were paling. Since we found nothing to shoot, we started for home towards evening. While we were taking a sandy nullah that ran through dense scrub and thorn bamboo jungle, a tiger was looking at us. It stared at us for some time but went back. We continued on our way and the tiger came out again, and it was growling and twitching its tail. We stood still and luckily the tiger left the nullah. Being disturbed by the tiger, a number of jungle fowl rose cackling out of the dense scrub. One of them alighted on a branch and Harsing fired at it. The tiger came towards us with a terrifying roar. I had climbed up a rooney tree, but Harsing could not climb up a tree as he had not learned to climb trees when he was a boy. The tiger sprang at him and he was screaming. Now I fired the gun off into the air. The tiger went away and Harsing collapsed at the foot of the tree. I climbed down very silently and went to Harsing. I found that one of the tiger's claws had entered his stomach and torn the lining from his navel to within a few fingers' breadth of the backbone. All his inside had fallen out. I could not know what to do. Harsing told me to put his intestines back into his stomach. I stuffed them all back along with the dry leaves, grass, and twigs that stuck to them. Later, I wound my pagri turban round his stomach and knitted it tight to keep everything from falling out again. We started for home walking for 7 miles. I led the way and Harsing followed me. Holding the pagri in position, Harsing told me that he wanted to meet the doctor. We walked for the extra 3 miles to the hospital. It was night and the hospital was closed. But the Dr. Babu, who lived nearby, was awake. He asked me to call Aladia, the tobacco seller. When I returned, the doctor had laid Harsing on a string bed. Aladia held the lantern and I held the 2 pieces of flesh together. The doctor was very kind. He sewed up the hole in Harsing's stomach. I offered him 2 rupees, but he refused to take it. When we went home, the women folk were crying. Jim Corbett.